You know, of course, we introduced a new member.
A blue-blooded member, no less.
Prince Caspian?
Yes? And who are you?
But despite his royal on-screen status, theatre actor Ben Barnes is a virtual unknown, whose only brush with Hollywood was a small part in last year's fantasy escapade Stardust.
I was doing a play in London called The History Boys, and someone from the casting department asked if I'd like to come in for an audition, which I did. And then I did a screen test the next weekend, and with all the producers and Andrew Adamson, and I mean, I had the part literally a week after that. So I think the surprise came out of it just being all so quick. I've been used to auditioning for things for 3 months at a time, and I know the kids were furious because for The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, they had to audition over about 18 months, I think. So there's me, you know, with my 2.5-week audition process.
You're Narnians. You're supposed to be extinct.
It was just a real honour because I remember reading the books when I was 8 years old, and you know, I found my copy when I got the part, and it had Benjamin Barnes, age 8, written in the front cover.
Get up.
For me, the drive to play the part was just wanting to tell that story faithfully to the next generation and be a part of that magic world for everyone who sees this film.
The vision of Prince Caspian galloping around director Andrew Adamson's mind would require that Ben honed a particular skill.
And Cat, wow, you sounded that horn!
One of the first things I decided is I wanted Prince Caspian to be very different from King Peter. I wanted to get away from just feeling like just a British world and expand it into a world that has the same kind of diversity of ethnicity as our world, and that sort of sent me in the direction with the Telmarines because they descend into pirates, sort of looking in the Mediterranean, the Latin-speaking kind of world.
It said prepare with a Spanish accent, and I wanted to keep it light because I didn't want it to get annoying or like intrusive. But before the audition, I have to admit, I was looking for like a DVD like Antonio Banderas.
So the devil will know who sent you.
I had nothing, and so I found The Princess Bride, and you have the famous line, you know, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father, prepare to die. And then I was filming a couple of months later in Prague, and I've got the sword at my uncle's throat, and I'm saying,
Did you kill my father?
and I'm thinking, oh no, this is exactly the same.
The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe saw the Pevensies, under the guidance of Aslan, succeed in their quest to free the kingdom of Narnia from evil, become kings and queens themselves, and make a safe return to England. But evil has a habit of reappearing.
You must make for the woods. They won't follow you there.
It's over 1,000 years later from the first film, and Caspian's evil uncle Miraz has murdered his parents, and he's had a son of his own, so he no longer has need of Caspian as the kind of heir apparent.
It's sad. The first time you've shown any backbone, and it's such a waste.
And so Caspian is forced out of the castle, is to run away, and then he's forced to call up the Pevensies from the first film and rally the Narnian troops to fight against his own people.
However, Prince Caspian gets more than he bargained for when calling on the Pevensies, who are grappling with a number of personal issues.
He has this inner battle going on, you know, he's really torn in himself. And I think that comes from, you know, he isn't a High King anymore. He's back in England. Nobody thinks he's a High King. I mean, he was in Narnia for 15 years. And he comes back to Narnia, he expects a parade with his name everywhere. He doesn't get that at all.
Don't you see?
What?
I imagine walls and a glass roof.
Que paravel.
So he has to almost reinstate his power, and he thinks he should do that through this one self-righteous tactical assault on a castle. Which doesn't end up working out.
You could have called it off. There was still time.
No, there wasn't, thanks to you. If you'd kept to the plan, those soldiers might be alive right now.
And if you just stayed here like I suggested, they definitely would be.
He has to learn this very, very important lesson of humility and, you know, working as a team, especially with Caspian.
Hey! I am not the one who abandoned Narnia.
Edmund's real sort of character, his whole plot is really with Peter, and how sort of he's unappreciated because, you know, he's so arrogant and he's such a horrible person that he doesn't realise.
Right, this is my character, not me.
Yeah, sure.
You're talking about.
He's a lot more mature, and he's a lot more able to take on the responsibilities of helping the family through and, you know, saving William whenever he needs it.
Saving William.
What happened in the very beginning of the film?
All right, fine. You
Okay, there we go.
once or twice.
Yeah, and then there were a couple other times, you have to admit.
In the last film, I think Lucy was very alone and missing her father, and that was why she clung to Aslan. And now she feels like she needs him because she's been away from him for so long.
Where have you been for the last few hundred years?
It's a bit of a long story.
There are lots of new things with Susan this time around. She's involved in the action in this film. We thought it was only logical that someone with bow and arrow skills would be involved when you need all hands on deck in a battle. There's also a kind of slight hint of romance in this film.
Good luck.
Thanks. Susan has a little thing with Prince Caspian, but we didn't want to add any major love scenes, you know, it's very subtle, it's done through a series of looks.
Maybe this time you have this back.
Why don't you hold on to it? You might need to call me again.
There might be a little surprise at the end of the film.
You might need to call me again?
Oh, shut up.
That's it for part 1, but don't go anywhere, because coming up after the break, Ben Barnes on the Narnia family.
I just thought, oh, this thing's making me feel sick. This is disgusting. This is, you know, you're just pretending for Disney. That's not true.
Andrew Adamson on working the male ego.
I'd say, guys, can you take out your swords for this scene? I'd say, which sword is longer? And Ben would just kind of smile and would get all wound up.
And William Moseley on making a first impression.
And sure enough, on cue, and everybody's freaking out, like, oh my god, oh my god. Sure enough, on cue, Andrew pulls up in his car to see Ben in costume for the first time, and Ben's covered in oranges. I just ran for my life. I absolutely was out of there.